Hello, I'm Danielle Deibler with the League of Women Voters of San Francisco. Along with the League and SFGovTV, I am here to talk about Proposition D, a ballot measure that will be before the voters on Tuesday, November 5th. The city has about 130 appointed boards, commissions, and advisory bodies, for simplicity referred to as commissions, with 44 established in the charter and only changeable by voters. The rest are created by ordinance and can be changed by the Board of Supervisors. There's no limit on the number of commissions, which vary in their roles from decision-making to advisory. Some oversee city departments and nominate department heads for mayoral appointment, and generally have sole authority to remove them. The mayor typically appoints just over half of the commissioners, subject to confirmation by the Board of Supervisors, with the board appointing the rest. Removal of some commissioners is limited to cases of official misconduct. Commissioners volunteer, with a small number receiving stipends and healthcare benefits. Notably, the Police Commission sets rules for police officer conduct. Proposition D would change the composition, appointment process, and responsibilities of city commissioners, and adjust the balance of power between the commissions, the mayor, the Board of Supervisors, and department heads. It would set a limit of 65 commissions, keeping 20 in the charter, including ethics, fire, planning, and police, and those others that are required by federal or state law. It would remove 24 charter commissions, including arts, environment, juvenile probation, library, health, homelessness, small business, and youth. It would create a task force to recommend which other commissions to eliminate or restructure. It would restrict commissions to advisory roles only, except where legally mandated. It would give the mayor power to appoint at least 2/3 of all commissioners without confirmation by the Board of Supervisors, and would give the mayor sole power to appoint and remove most city department heads. It would end commissioner stipends and healthcare benefits. It would also reassign authority for police office or conduct rules from the Police Commission solely to the police chief. If you vote yes, you want to limit the number of commissions the city can have to 65, give the mayor sole authority to appoint and remove city department heads, and give the police chief sole authority to adopt rules governing police officers' conduct. If you vote no, you do not want to make these changes. A note on this proposition: if Proposition D passes with more votes than Proposition E, then Proposition E would fail. So I'd like to welcome Kanishka Chang, CEO of Together SF Action, who is a proponent of Proposition D. And I'd also like to welcome Kristen Evans, who's a volunteer with the people organizing the No on D and Yes on E campaign. And I'd like to invite you guys to make your opening statements. Kanishka first.
Great, thank you so much for having me. San Francisco has too many commissions. We have 130 commissions when larger cities like Los Angeles and San Diego have around 50 commissions. We have a bloated commission system. This leads to unnecessary bureaucracy. City staff spends about 10% of their time just in the service of commissions, and we believe that city time could be better spent producing outcomes for our city's residents. These too many commissions also have varying levels of power, which creates confusion in government. It means it's not clear who's actually in charge of the decisions of city departments. We have had former department heads say they weren't sure who was their actual boss. Is it the commission? Is it the mayor? The police chief, in fact, can be fired by either the mayor or by the police commission. The current system also makes it hard to remove commissioners for corruption, for bad behavior, and they're not providing the accountability they should be. This most recent example is around the scandal of corruption in the Human Rights Commission that has a commission overseeing it. Prop D fixes these problems by creating a task force, a temporary task force, to streamline the commission system through a 1.5-year long public process. It establishes a 65 number hard cap backed by independent research to guarantee a streamlined commission system. It allows for direct removal of commissioners to make it easier to hold commissioners accountable for this bad behavior and corruption. It establishes a periodic review of the commission system every 10 years to ensure that commissions are actually providing value to San Francisco residents. And it makes it clear that elected officials and not unelected commissioners are responsible for city department performance.
Thank you very much, Kanishka. All right, and then Kristen, I'd like to invite you to talk a little bit about why you oppose Prop D.
Yeah, so Prop D was taken to the ballot by an organization called Together SF. It was done, I think, primarily through paid canvassers to get signatures to place it on the ballot. And it was designed, the language of the measure, in secret. It didn't have a public process, and there was no opportunity for public input. And as a result, unfortunately, the measure is extremely flawed. It essentially acts like a meat cleaver approach to cutting half of our commissions, and sets an arbitrary cap of 65 commissions. I don't know if the right number is 65 or 80, or maybe it's less than 65. But the problem with setting a hard cap is that it essentially forces a situation where we're going to have to cut commissions that potentially are really needed and necessary. And I don't think we've done that due diligence to have the conversation about what the value of commissions are and how to essentially rationalize the commissions if there is in fact too many commissions. So there's an alternative process to Prop D, and that is through an alternative ballot measure, Prop E, that instead of setting an arbitrary cap, does essentially give a process for a time-bound period for a task force to be created to hold public input to create and craft better legislation.
Thank you very much, Kristen. All right, now we have a couple questions, and then we're gonna let you guys kind of get in any other additional information that you want to make sure that voters should know, right, to make that decision between Prop D and E for the November election. And the first one is, I think both of you probably know that the Civil Grand Jury released a report in June of 2024, a very lengthy document, I think it's like 90 pages, with a lot of recommendations in it. And kind of, I'd like to understand from you, Kanishka, how much of that document really informed what's in Proposition D?
We were very pleased to see the Civil Grand Jury report because it really reinforced our main goals and the point that we are trying to make, which is that the commission system has become bloated and bureaucratic and is no longer serving really the intents of city officials when many of these commissions were created, and certainly when this structure was created. Some main points that really informed us is the fact that the Civil Grand Jury report is where we got the stat of 10% of city staff time being spent on servicing commissions rather than producing outcomes for those city departments. We could see much better results, we think, by having city staff working on these problems. The Civil Grand Jury report also found, I believe it was 15 or so commissions that simply aren't meeting anymore, don't need to exist, and that was just an initial pass, right? So we know that there's a lot of room for consolidation and even sunsetting commissions. What Prop D does is create that public process, the 1.5-year-long public process, to force city officials to make those decisions. We want our elected officials to be empowered to make the decisions of what should exist, what shouldn't exist, and what can be consolidated. And we think that Prop D will really be able to enact many of the recommendations, if not all, of the Civil Grand Jury report.
Thank you very much. And then your rebuttal to that, I'm guessing.
Certainly.
Probably.
So Kanishka forgot to mention one particular aspect, which is that they did not recommend cutting half of the commissions. They did have a list of commissions that they recommended consolidating or cutting, but it's I think like 12 or something like that. It was nothing close to the 60-some commissions that would have to be cut. So according to Prop D, there's 22 named commissions that they would keep. And those commissions, they actually give more power to the mayor, and they also allow for the mayor to remove any commissioner at any time for no good reason. Like, it doesn't have to be for malfeasance. Additionally, it mentions that there's about 23, I think Kanishka's used this number before, remaining commissions that are required by law, that are actually required by state or federal government. So for example, the Local Homeless Coordinating Board is required for us to receive about $63 million in federal HUD funding. So we don't want to lose that funding, so we wouldn't get rid of that body. That leaves, with their 65 cap, only 20 slots for about 80 commissions. And so the problem is that the Civil Grand Jury report essentially didn't make any suggestion that we should eliminate 60 commissions. And so it really is counter to what the Civil Grand Jury was recommending. There's an alternative, which is Prop E, and that will allow us to actually engage in the process to identify what the correct number of commissions are.
Thank you very much. And I forgot to time that one, so give me 1 second, guys. I'm going to assume that in post-production you can cut me out.
Okay.
So There we go. Okay. I just
Could
wanted to
I
get the timer
like
running.
clarify any of that, or do we have to move on
Sure.
to the next question?
We can totally do that. If you want to take an opportunity to kind of
Sure.
like dig into that a little bit, do a little
Yeah.
bit of a rebuttal, and then kind of close it off with you, and
Sure.
then we can ask about the police commission question.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, sure. So Kanishka, I invite you to make
Yeah,
a rebuttal
yeah.
to that.
So first, I want to clarify that the ability to remove commissioners under Prop D applies to the mayor and the board of supervisors. Whoever appointed someone has the authority to remove them, and this is designed to create accountability of commissioners. Right now, they can operate sort of unaccountable with no recourse for their actions through the tenure of their terms. The other thing I want to highlight is that the city of San Francisco has 130 commissions. This means that the city is saying we have 130 priorities, and many of them are duplicative. There is a strong case to be made to say, if you have 130 priorities, which ones are really priorities? And that's often the system that we have set up when we set up certain interest groups against each other with the various commissions, and the point that we have 5 commissions on homelessness, 5 on children, youth, and families. There are real opportunities for consolidation, and we think that City Hall should make those decisions, and we want to empower them to do that.
Thank you very much. And then we'll go ahead and give you the last word on this one, on this particular question.
Sure.
We're going to ask one more question after this.
Certainly, yeah. So basically, Prop D eliminates 83% of commissions. It basically puts them on the chopping block, and that includes the Arts Commission, the Library Commission, the Health Commission, the Youth Commission, the Environment Commission, the Small Business Commission, the Homeless Oversight Commission, and the Streets and Sanitation Commission. And I think what Kanishka's point is made, that they came up with an arbitrary number of 65, but there's no basis for that number. So yes, maybe there is an opportunity to rationalize and make some of these commissions more efficient. Prop E does that. It essentially is the alternative, that it basically does an analysis of the cost benefit of each commission and what it's providing to the city, so that we can evaluate whether they should stay or go.
Thank you very much for weighing in on that. All right, we're going to go to our last question, and then we'll let you guys make some closing statements. So something we've heard a lot at some of the candidate forums that we've been doing, that people have been asking about, especially when they're trying to figure out Prop D versus Prop E, is what around the police commission, what are really the implications of that being included in Measure D, and what are the specific recommendations, right? That's one that people really want to dig in on and understand. And I'm going to go ahead and give you an opportunity to talk first about that, and
Absolutely.
then let you
Yeah.
close it out.
So it's my understanding that the police commission now has the responsibility of evaluating bad behavior by officers that are misbehaving, but additionally can help set policies about how the police engage with the public. And so that includes things like the pretextual stops. We know that the police force currently disproportionately stops people that are Black and brown at a much higher rate, sometimes like 4 or 10 times higher or more. And so in order to really address our inequities in our society and really curtail the really abuse to a community of color that are basically being disproportionately over-policed, we really need to have some community input and control over setting those policies. It's my understanding that the way that Prop D was written is that it essentially, sorry? Wrap up. Okay, sorry.
It's okay.
It's my understanding the way that Prop D is written is essentially still allows for the management of misbehaving officers, but it takes away any oversight over things like how drones technology should be used, what the stop and frisk policy should be.
I'm going to go ahead and move on to Kanishka. So you are the proponent.
Yeah.
So what is your kind of understanding, and what was the intention?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because you guys really did.
That's right. No, yes. So what Prop D does in regards to police commission is it brings the powers of the police commission more into line with the rules and the powers that other commissions have. The police commission right now has a different set of powers than other commissions, which is that they can set the rules of engagement for how the people who work for that department, in this case police officers, engage in their work. They also are responsible to hold police officers accountable. They are the disciplinary body for police officers. San Francisco also has a separate department called the Department of Police Accountability that supports all of that work of accountability and oversight of police officers. What Prop D does is say that the police commission can no longer be the responsible agency for setting the rules and procedures for how police officers conduct their business. that power would revert back to the leadership, the police chief, and our elected officials. This would have a huge impact on public safety, certainly. It would rebalance, I think, the operations of public safety in San Francisco, as right now we have a police commission that focuses on setting those procedures, and we have a Department of Police Accountability that does the same. And I think that is why we've had a lot of problems with police officers' recruitment, retention, and their effectiveness in policing. And I want to highlight the drone policy was actually adopted by voters in Prop E in March.
I'd like to invite you, Kristen, to make your closing first. So go ahead.
So I would encourage voters to also explore the funding that Prop D has received. You can go to the San Francisco Department of Ethics to see the campaign finance, and you'll see that there are billionaires and very wealthy people making huge contributions to pass Prop D. This is not a grassroots supported, citizen-led initiative as the Prop D campaign has portrayed. It is actually funded by very wealthy people with an agenda to take over City Hall.
Thank you. And Kanishka, would you like to, is there anything you would like to make sure
I'd love to
voters
offer
know?
a closing about the measure. Prop E, I'm sorry.
We can take that from the top.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, Kanishka, I'd like to invite you then to make your closing remarks.
Yeah, so it's become clear to everyone that we need real government reform. Together, SF Action started talking about the need for commission reform 2 years ago. We've been engaged in a very public process about this need, and now it's clear that everybody agrees that we have this need. We have Supervisor Peskin promoting Prop E. We have the mayor taking on commission reform in 2026 as well. It's because we know local government is failing us and our residents deserve better. Last time we had a holistic look at the city's charter and do these reforms through City Hall the way Prop E is proposing. It took 15 years to get those changes passed. We feel that there is much more urgency right now in San Francisco to enact real reforms. San Francisco clearly has far too many commissions. It leads to too much bureaucracy, a lack of accountability in government, and it has been proven to be a breeding ground for government corruption. Prop D will fix this commission system. It'll create a more accountable and effective government via a public review process, including residents. Prop D gathered close to 80,000 signatures of San Francisco voters just to get it on the ballot. Prop D will streamline our commission system. It will limit the power of unelected commissioners to make decisions for us. It will hold commissioners accountable for their corrupt behavior. Conversely, Prop E does none of these. There is no guarantee that Prop E will streamline our commission system or actually do anything. Prop E's main proponent, Ed Harrington, has admitted this in the DCCC interview. Prop E is undemocratic. It gives an unelected task force power to make laws about how commissions run in San Francisco. And there are no provisions for holding commissioners accountable for corruption. Prop D is endorsed by the Democratic Party, by public safety officials, by first responders, firefighters, police officers, sheriffs, small and large business associations. This November, we encourage a real vote for change with Prop D.
Thank you very much, ladies. I really appreciate your time.